Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a good day so far. Welcome back to a broadcasting of where I am your host. My name is Helen Artis-Armstrong. And today we're going to be talking about suicide prevention. Suicide prevention is a very, very, very serious subject matter, very serious topic. There's no way that I can go in full detail of all the things that need to be covered, but we want to touch on some things and highlight some things just to help to increase the knowledge of everyone that's watching about how you can better prevent suicide, whether it's you that have the thoughts or your loved one. We want to talk about that. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're talking about suicide prevention. So I just want to give you a small definition on suicide. And I know all of us have, heard of that word before, and it makes us, some of us cringe a little bit to hear the word because it's a very serious subject matter, and nobody wants to have to deal with that in their family line. It can be a very, very painful thing to have to deal with. I've dealt with it a few times within my family. Um, and it's nothing that you get used to. It's nothing that's good. It's nothing that is positive about it. Nothing at all. And so when you talk about suicide, you're talking about the action of killing oneself intentionally. So suicide basically means someone trying to intentionally end their life. As I stated, it's a very serious thing, and it's nothing that it should be taken lightly by anyone on any accord. And so some of the ways that you can, some of the warning signs that, or I guess you can call it, yeah, the warning signs of you knowing of a person that may have suicidal thoughts. If that person is simply saying, I want to die, you know, so we can say, oh, they're just playing, they weren't serious, but were they? Okay. Because if someone says something like that, you really need to take note, pay attention to how did they say it? How often have they said it? Have they ever said it before? What are they going through currently mentally now that they're saying these words? Um, so many different things that need to be noticed and taken note of. If they say something like that, um, people saying that coming straight out say they're making plans to die. You know, you need to intervene. You need to talk to them. You need to try to do what you can do to de-escalate that whole situation, to try to bring them down and level them down. Let's talk about it. Well, what's really going on? And that doesn't mean to, if that person says, my relationship just broke up and I just can't live by myself and I just can't take it without them and I want to die. The response shouldn't be, oh, that person was not good for you anyway. And, you know, they ain't worth killing yourself over. No, you need to go a little bit deeper with that person because those are words that are not going to necessarily de escalate the situation. You may need to speak to them more along the lines of, be blunt with it. Well, how do you plan on doing this? Because you may need to go and get the gun and hide it. You may need to go and remove those drugs, medications, or whatever they're planning to kill themselves with. That's first and foremost. Remove whatever it is that they may be trying to use to take their life, and talk to them along the lines of, um, you know, uh, why you not really why you're thinking this way, but have you thought about that this is final? Have you thought about that you'll no longer be here with your loved ones? That there's no coming back. And a lot of the youth that have tried suicide or thought about suicide may not even understand that it's a sad thing to say that kids as young as 10 these days are having these thoughts. They're going through all these mood swings, and they're dealing with bullying, and they're dealing with, um, so many pressures and things in society that, for whatever reason, this has become a part of some of their thought process. And if you're talking to a youth and you know a youth, you have a youth that's dealing with this, you need to talk with them. And if you don't have the right words to say, and you probably don't, because most people don't, reach out to a suicide hotline. I'm gonna give you that number several times while we're talking. So let me start right now and just give it to you. Suicide prevention hotline. That number is 1-800-273-TALK. 273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK. You may be able to call that number for someone to talk to them and get those strategies and those pointers. Well, how do I deal with this? Or how do I talk to this individual that has these thoughts? Because it may be at that point of escalation where you need to dial 911, where you might have to call the authorities in to save a life. I would rather call and have that person, my loved one, arrested. Um, Rather than sit back and watch them take their lives. Um, and it's not just the youth, of course. There are many adults that are going through some heavy things mentally and have that mindset of hopelessness, that mindset of it's just over, and that mindset of feeling burdened and angry because of situations, and just not able to cope with life and deal with whatever the pressures that the life is bringing them. There's some people even in the wealthier sector that we know of and heard of, by way of news reports, that couldn't deal with the financial loss. Oh, I lost millions, and my house is up for foreclosure, and so their alternative is to take their lives. There is another way. There are other ways of coping and learning how to deal with whatever it is that has you in that mindset of hopelessness. Let's talk about finding strategies and finding other ways and finding other outlets of things that are going to bring you back to a place of hope, and where you say, well, you know what? This is bad. I'm dealing with this, but I can use these strategies and work my way through it. Because it may be you. You may be the one watching this broadcasting on today and say, I haven't talked to anybody, haven't told anyone, but I'm the one feeling those pressures in life. Talk to someone, reach out to that helpline, that hotline. As I stated, it's not just the youth. Suicide is touching people. Um, Sadly, from preschool, not preschool, but elementary school on up to elderly. The youngest case that I've heard of suicide was from a 6-year-old, and this was back in 2010. And this 6-year-old had a big argument with mom, and she was sent to her room as a punishment. Well, it was a little while later. Mom goes to the room to check on her, and she has wrapped a corduroy belt around her neck, and she has hung herself from, I think they said it was a bed or a cot or something that was in the room. And they said, well, she's too young to even understand what suicide is, the violence of it, to be able to um, have the thought of taking her life. She didn't know what she was doing. Well, that may or may not be, but the end result was that her life was taken because of the action that she went through, that she followed through with. So again, talk to your children and let them know that death is final. There's no coming back from it. Let them know it's not okay to play with paper bags, plastic bags and trash bags, and putting it over your head or putting it over someone else's head, because death is final. It's not okay to play with choking each other and putting cords and belts around necks, and it's funny. They may not understand the seriousness of it, and they might have some type of understanding of the seriousness of it and intend these things. Either way, I cannot encourage parents enough to talk to your children. Talk to them about everything and anything. And when they are ready and trying to talk to you, take the time out to talk to them. Hear them out. What seems so minor, it seems so trivial to you, may be something that they are feeling is life altering. And again, the same thing with an adult. There's a lot of elderly people out there that are going through sicknesses, that are suffering from diseases, that are painful, especially cancer patients. Going through things that they say, I just don't want to live anymore. I just don't, I can't take this pain anymore. I can't continue to go through this. And they will have those suicidal thoughts. It wasn't that long ago I heard of a person that had been diagnosed, a friend of a friend, diagnosed with cancer. It was a gentleman diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he became suicidal. He began to have the ideations. And the wonderful thing about it was his family heard him, and they rallied around this gentleman, and sons began to put in time, and they began to just set aside what they were doing and talk with him and be with him. They made sure that he wasn't left alone, because he felt like it was at the end of his life, because he thought that having prostate cancer meant the end of his manhood, and that was a life altering thing for him. And so he began to talk about ending his life and his life being worthless, and he had a whole closet full of guns and things like that he could have used to take himself out. And so, through them talking to him and rallying around him and showing him that love and showing him that support and letting him know how much they needed him in their life, and that life does not have to be over, it helped him to turn to a different mindset. He went through with the process of, the treatment for cancer, and I think he had the surgery, and he came out all right. So this was, almost about a year ago when I heard about this case, and it came out to be a success story. Last I heard, he's doing well. He's thriving in life again, not just mentally, but physically as well. And, it was because somebody took the time to talk with him. Somebody took time to hear him and to hear what he was going through. And that's what it's going to take for each individual to have these ideations and these different thoughts about taking their life. Suicide, according to the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, in 2017, they said that suicide is the most preventable public health problem. It's preventable because in order for suicide to take place, the action has to be completed. Well, you and I can help to stop that action. Okay, we can go in and de-escalate that situation by talking to someone, by getting them some help, by calling the authorities if we have to. Again, that suicide prevention lifeline is 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-8255. Call somebody, get them on the phone, let them know, hey, my loved one is saying some things that concern me, and I need to talk to somebody about getting them some help. There will be some counselors and some people on the other end of that phone that are more than happy to talk to you about ways that you can help them. Okay. And if it comes down to it, they will instruct you to dial 911. We don't ever want it to come down to them being able to carry out a suicide attempt. Okay. And it may be that that person has to be hospitalized for a while in order to get them stable. But if that's what it needs to be, then that's what it needs to be. And that's okay. That's okay. Some people need that extra help. The objective is to sustain life. The objective is to sustain life. Okay. Jesus, according to the Bible, because I've always stated that Jesus is my saving grace. And he said that he came that we will have life and have it more abundantly. That's what Jesus said in the Holy Bible. And so that simply means that he wants us to have a good quality of life. He wants us to live and not die. All of us have an appointed time of death, but it's not a good thing to take your life before your life is lived. And when we're talking about these youth, they haven't even lived life yet. If they're not even adults and having these thoughts, they haven't even come to the place of living a full life. And so we can help them to get past whatever it is they're dealing with and get to that place where they live a long, successful life. Help somebody, tell a neighbor, tell a friend, that there's a suicide hotline out there if they're having any of these thoughts, these negative thoughts of harming themselves or, doing these types of things that are going to cause death at the end. Talk to them. Talk to them about talking to someone. Talk to someone for them. Reach out 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. It's not a beautiful thing to lose a loved one to suicide. So many different ways that they can carry these things out. And if they have verbally said these things, if you see them, their mood has changed, that they are, in an anxious mood or depressed mood, and they're having these periods of times where they're talking about, I don't want to live anymore, and I can't take this anymore. I can't go on. Y'all are better off without me. The family, they can do good without me, and there's no reason for me to be here anymore, and I just want to die, and I'm just going to kill myself. If you hear them saying these things, don't take it lightly. Take action. Okay, I call you to action. If you listen to this video now and that certain person's name is popping up and you're thinking about it, take action. Call that number, 1-800-273-8255. Call and talk to somebody and let them give you strategies on how you can help them, and see, is it at that point where you need to bring in the authorities, where that person needs to get some help beyond what you are capable of doing. And so, as I stated in the beginning, this is a very serious subject matter. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of lives lost every year to suicide. It's not getting any better, but you and I can do our part to try to help somebody. Okay. Well, as usual, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a blessed week. I hope that everything in your life is lining up with the purpose that God has on your life, and that great things are happening. Okay. And so just be blessed. Until the next time, you can reach out to us by way of email. Our email address is kboministries@yahoo.com. That is kboministries@yahoo.com. And feel free to reach out to us by way of YouTube as well. There's a comment section there. And thank you for those of you that have been leaving comments there. We appreciate those, as well as the email. And so, and make sure you subscribe to the page and turn on that notification so you'll get notified each time that we upload a video, because we are talking about our journey to better mental health. We are talking about our journey to better mental health, and together we're going to get through this. We're going to learn today. All right. Y'all have a blessed one. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.